I honestly thought my prep was over. Like, genuinely. That was my first thought while I was laying in the grass last Thursday night holding the back of my leg. 3 weeks out from my bodybuilding show, and I tore my hamstring, running across the backyard trying to save my dog from being attacked. You really cannot make this up. Thursday night, I came home after a really long day at work, already exhausted, deep into prep fatigue, low energy, restriction, just running on discipline at that point. Then I heard my dog screaming outside. I looked through the back slider and I saw the neighbor's dog attacking him, and I didn't think. I just ran. And honestly, looking back now, that was a really terrible idea. I'm not a runner, and I do not sprint right now or really ever. I'm not training explosive running either. And as a PT, I can actually see why this happened. My right side had been talking to me for over a week. I was having right-sided back pain and radiating symptoms into that leg, which absolutely changes how the body loads forces through the hip and hamstring. And when one area isn't functioning optimally, you get higher risk of injury. That right side had quietly become the weak link. Then layer on prep fatigue, dehydration risk, restricted recovery capacity, and suddenly I asked that tissue to do something extremely explosive and forceful that I never specifically train right now, a full-speed reactive sprint across uneven grass. That combination is exactly how tears happen. Not because the body is weak overall, but because one overloaded area finally got pushed past its threshold. And somewhere in the middle of the yard, I felt this sharp, violent pull high up in my hamstring and immediately went down. I tried getting back up because my dog was still trying to get away, and I just couldn't. That's when it hit, not even physically, mentally. Like, are you kidding me right now? Months of work, every cardio session, every meal, every early morning, every social thing I've skipped, 3 weeks out. I think people assume because I'm a PT and an athlete that I don't have those moments where your mind starts spiraling a little bit. Well, I absolutely do. I stood there, hunched over in my backyard, trying not to panic. But then honestly, I switched modes pretty quickly. I went into PT mode, not emotional mode, problem-solving mode. Because the reality is injuries happen, sometimes in the gym, sometimes in completely random, stupid situations like this one. And instead of catastrophizing it, I immediately started focusing on what I needed to do next. I protected it immediately and literally kept compression on it basically nonstop, even sleeping. I actually avoided overusing ice because the research on soft tissue healing has shifted a lot. Ice can help temporarily with pain, but constantly trying to kill inflammation can interfere with your normal healing response your body is trying to create. So instead of aggressively icing it all day, I focused on compression, circulation, control movement, and letting the tissue actually do what it's designed to do. I modified what I needed to modify, but I did not completely shut down. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. They either ignore injuries completely or they stop moving altogether and become terrified of everything. I increased hydration, electrolytes, BCAAs, glutamine, all the little things that people don't think matter until recovery actually matters. I changed how I sat, how I drove, how I got in and out of the car, up and down stairs, sitting on the toilet, literally everything. And then I started throwing every recovery tool I had at it. Red light, compression boots, low-level neuromuscular E-stim, massage, not digging aggressively into the injury, more for circulation, lymphatic drainage, and honestly calming my nervous system down because your body gets so guarded after something like that. And the next day, I still went to the gym, not to be a hero, not to prove anything, but because mentally I needed to keep moving forward. I skipped cardio that first day and instead focused on posing because it was something productive I could still do. Then the following day, I resumed cardio carefully on the elliptical only. No bite because the stretch position on the hamstrings felt awful. Lower intensity, mostly pushing, not pulling, more weight through my left side. And then came leg day, which honestly sounds insane to most people, but this is where experience matters. I didn't train stupid, I trained smart. Single leg press, controlled single leg forward lunges, hip work, ins and outs, leg extensions, both legs and single leg. Just smart modifications like I'd make for any athlete trying to return quickly without making things worse. And honestly, one thing that helped mentally was realizing my injured side is actually my bigger, stronger leg. And my ACL side is the one that needs more work anyway. So instead of sitting there feeling sorry for myself, I started thinking, okay, how do I use this to improve? That mindset matters. Because setbacks will either consume you or sharpen you, depending on how you respond to them. So this morning, I was able to resume cardio again pretty normally, still lower intensity, but I'd honestly say I'm already about 75% better. Not healed, better. And that's the important part, because feeling good too early is exactly how people re-injure themselves. So in part 2 of this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I'll progress myself back into full training, sprinting, explosive movement, and stage readiness without being reckless about it. And honestly, this whole situation is exactly why my athletes trust me, because I don't just understand injuries from textbooks, I understand the mental side of them too. I understand what it feels like when something threatens a goal you've poured everything into. And I also know how to stay calm enough to work through it instead of falling apart because of it. Because resilience isn't built when things go perfectly. It's built in the moments that try to break you. So follow for part 2. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm getting back to the stage without letting the setback define me.